By the summer of 1932, the global economy had ground to a virtual halt. You can see the reality of that summer right here. Lines of men and women stretching down city blocks, waiting for a single meal or the distant hope of a job. People were exhausted by poverty and desperately needed a psychological release valve. Inside the gates of the Paramount Pictures lot in Hollywood, four brothers from New York were building exactly that. Groucho, Harpo, Chico, and Zeppo arcs had already dominated vaudeville stages and early sound cinema, establishing themselves as massive stars. They were gearing up for their fourth studio picture, a project called Horsefeathers. The brothers specialized in a distinct brand of surreal, rapid-fire satire that actively mocked the very institutions failing the public outside the theater doors. In a summer where institutions seemed unable to stop a global economic slide, the public's appetite for characters who actively dismantled every social rule they encountered was growing. The target for Horsefeathers was the elitism of American higher education and the growing national obsession with college sports. Groucho plays Professor Quincy Adams Wagstaff, the newly appointed president of Huxley College. Desperate to win a football game against a rival school, he goes to a speakeasy to hire professional ringers. Instead, he accidentally recruits two clueless bootleggers, played by Chico and Harpo. But filming on the lot was just getting started when a sudden real-world disaster stopped the cameras entirely. The production was now a race to salvage Paramount's investment before the mounting costs of the delay became terminal. To understand how they salvaged the movie, you have to look at the creative dynamic driving the production behind the scenes. This is humorist S.J. Perelman. He co-wrote the screenplay, supplying a dense layer of literary absurdity. His intricate wordplay provided the perfect engine for Groucho's aggressive, rapid-fire delivery. Directing the picture was Norman Z. MacLeod. He came from a background in illustration and cartooning. That specific visual sensibility meant he knew exactly how to frame the brothers' wild, physical gags without stifling their energy. What looks like unhinged anarchy to an audience actually requires an incredibly rigid, precise framework to capture on film. That precise framework collapsed when Chico Marx got into a severe automobile accident. The violent crash left Chico with multiple broken ribs and a severely shattered knee. He was completely immobilized. A Marx Brothers routine relies on a delicate balance of four people. It requires exact spatial awareness, split-second physical reactions, and constant movement across the set. With Chico unable to stand, the math of their comedy no longer worked. An immobile lead actor in an early sound-era physical comedy meant Paramount was staring down a total write-off. The studio made a critical choice. Rather than replace Chico and break up the family act, they halted production entirely. Delaying a major Hollywood shoot incurred massive daily costs. Keeping crew and equipment in limbo burned through cash reserves. During this delay, the writing team systematically tore apart the script, reworking the blocking to account for Chico's broken leg. Watch the early parts of the finished film and you'll see the results of this rewrite. Chico is almost always seated or leaning heavily against a prop or piece of furniture, effectively hiding his large leg cast from the camera. Working around his immobility, the team managed to film some of the group's most enduring routines. This includes the famous speakeasy scene where Chico demands the password swordfish and the sequence where the brothers take turns singing "Everyone Says I Love You." By forcing themselves to physically work around the cast, the crew kept their essential timing intact, preserving the comedic rhythm despite the medical disaster. The ultimate payoff to this restructured production arrived during the film's climax. Moving off the studio lot, MacLeod set up a massive location shoot at the Loyola Marymount University Stadium, filling the stands with extras for the deciding football game. Here, the strict visual planning shines. Harpo and Chico tear apart the rules of the game, executing carefully choreographed physical gags that turn the football field into an absolute playground. The sequence peaks with a beautifully absurd image, the brothers crossing the goal line to win the game while riding inside a horse-drawn garbage chariot. The sequence showed that the brothers' chaotic energy could be scaled up to fill an entire stadium without losing its precision. Horsefeathers premiered in August of 1932 and instantly broke box office records across the country. The same public enduring the harsh, grinding reality of the Depression breadlines chose to spend their scarce dimes seeking refuge in the dark, watching four brothers tear down the establishment. The film's reception extended beyond ticket sales. That August, the Marx Brothers appeared on the cover of Time magazine, a recognition normally reserved for heads of state or captains of industry. Decades later, the film survives as a masterclass in focused, uncompromising satire. It showed that even when the outside world feels irreparably broken, just a cigar, a grease paint mustache, and perfectly timed absurdity offer a powerful way to fight back. This was brought to you by Stalls or Circle. Thank you for listening.